You remember Dottie back in 2008?
Right. Yeah.
This bear suddenly runs across the fairway, and Dottie's a great personal friend. And I happened to be in the NBC truck helping with the commentator, and we were on commercial break when this bear runs across, so we're not live TV at the time. And the producer goes, Russ, I want you to mess with Dottie. So I'm talking into a microphone, and she's got her headphone on. I said, Dottie, don't move. That is one of those man-eating bears, and they love women. And she starts squealing, like a little 2-year-old. And
there's a mean streak in you now.
Oh, my God. And once again, she's a good friend, so I could do it. And I said, Dottie, don't move. So the bear runs across, and he starts coming back, and she starts screaming more. And I said, the more you scream, the more he's going to want to eat you.
Oh, my God. She had to be going nuts.
She's going crazy. Then the producer goes, 30, 29. We're getting ready to go back on air. And he says, give it a few more seconds. He goes, okay. I said, Dottie, just kidding. Those bears wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole.
The very latest on economic development, workforce, and industry sector news in Southern Colorado. Here is Business Digest Weekly with our host, Dirk Hobbs.
Good Friday afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Business Digest Weekly. I am your host, Dirk Hobbs, and hey, I am really thrilled to be in the studio with you today. It's good to be back in the chair. In a few minutes, we're going to have a quick conversation with Stephen Hogan. He is the sporting director with the Colorado Springs Switchbacks. We got a big game coming in town, ladies and gentlemen. May 6th, that's Tuesday of next week. 7:30, the New York Red Bulls are coming to town, and I got to tell you, this is a big deal, folks. Paramount Plus, CBS, is going to be doing some coverage. But we here in Colorado Springs, last week, there was a lot of noise and news around Colorado Springs, again, for the wrong reasons. And we had a pretty nasty situation on the south end of town. Fortunately, ICE and other collaborative agencies in the region took care of business. And we put to bed a club that was doing some things we definitely don't want to talk about on air. But, we've got everything buttoned up there, hopefully, and we appreciate our officials getting involved with that incident in putting that mess to bed. But now we have another chance to get in front of a national audience and showcase the best side of Colorado Springs. So the New York Red Bulls and the Colorado Springs Switchbacks tee it up at 7:30 on May 6th at Widener Field downtown. I think we're going to be encouraged to get down there a little bit early, have a toddy or two, and just enjoy the game. It's going to be under the lights, under a brilliant Colorado sky. Let's have some fun. So switchbacksfc.com, get your tickets. Let's pack that stadium and show how we celebrate here in Colorado Springs on the good side of life. All right, we're going to have a great discussion with Director of Golf over at the Broadmoor. Russ Miller is with me, and we're going to have an in-depth conversation about another marquee event that is coming this summer to Colorado Springs. That, of course, is the U.S. Senior Open. And if you haven't heard about this event, you've probably been living under a rock because it is everywhere, ladies and gentlemen. And once again, we get to showcase this beautiful city in a way that, only television can to the rest of the nation. And of course, it's at the beautiful historic Broadmoor Hotel. And Russ is going to give us some inside scoop as well as just some history and some of the economic impact that this incredible event has on our region, because it's not just the golf and the TV and the CP value, it's everything else that goes along with it. So we're obviously going to have some great celebrities in the region playing this golf tournament. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Even if you're not a golf fan, you got to get out to see this. It is absolutely spectacular event. It's one of sports' marquee events. Of course, that is coming downstream here in June 26th through the 29th is the active tournament. Of course, we have qualifyings ahead of that, and we'll get into how all that works, even if you're not an avid golf fan, here in just a moment. Of course, the Colorado Springs Sports Corp, while we're on sports, we might as well stick with it. They've got a full agenda this summer. We're going into our summer sports season, ladies and gentlemen, here in Southern Colorado, and nothing is better because we get outside and play, keep that health and wellness reputation up that we have here so well. So we're excited to be a partner with Colorado Springs Sports Corporation. They've got the Labor Day liftoff towards the end of the summer. Of course, they did the Pikes Peak Regional Air Show, which was fabulous last year. That'll be back again next year here in Colorado Springs, and hopefully we can talk them into getting the Blue Angels back. Wasn't that fun? So Pikes Peak Hill Climb, We've got the senior games. We've got the state games of Rocky Mountain State Games. We've got a myriad of things happening here in the summertime. No shortage of activities. So I want to make sure you hit that organization and keep up with their events as well. The Colorado Springs Sports.org is where you can find out what's going on there. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee and 26 NGBs are here, and they call Colorado Springs home. This is a fantastic place to be for amateur sports, and we are so honored as a community to have the USOPC and, of course, all those NGBs and here in Colorado Springs, and it's just an honor to be that Olympic City, USA. So get out there and experience it. The training center, the USOPC headquarters are here. You can arrange for special tours periodically. And, of course, the United States Olympic and Paralympic Museum. Quite a number of assets, and we're just skimming the top here because we've got collegiate programs and Rocky Mountain Athletic Conferences and sports manufacturing going on here in Southern Colorado. So stick with us. We're going to get into this nice discussion with Russ Miller, Director of Golf over at the Broadmoor. We're going to get a really good inside look at this fabulous, not only the facility, but this fabulous tournament and what it really does for this region from an economic impact standpoint. So stick with us. We're going to be back in a moment.
My experience with Colorado Springs Orthopedic Group has been top-notch. The whole orthopedic group, they've worked very well together. Even when I've gone through PT or needed to get my collar prosthetic, everybody's been just right on top of it. It's all centralized and the communications have been awesome. Even though I had my nervousness about going into surgery, I was still very confident. I knew I was going to be okay. Colorado Springs Orthopedic Group is definitely getting me back to my life and the things that I want to do.
All right, our second quarter here, Business Digest Weekly, and it is a Friday at 3:15. We're just a mere hour and 45 minutes from our first cold toddy of the afternoon, and you will be dismissed at 4 o'clock from work. Just tell them Dirk Hobbs said so. Quick note and reminder, I am honored to say that our team here at Colorado Media Group has purchased the Colorado Springs Business Journal and the Colorado Springs Independent, and we are going to be very good stewards of these publications. They've been around for a long time, and this is a tough business. If you're in media, you know what I'm talking about. And it's just, I'm honored that J.W. Roth and Kevin O'Neill picked us to steward this and shepherd this into its next chapter. And we're going to be bringing the CSBJ portions of it inside the Southern Colorado Business Digest. So look for it in there. You're going to see some very familiar names. Andrew Rogers is going to be writing some stuff for us, and some of the other business writers you're familiar with in the digest. So honored to do that and cover the whole southeastern quadrant of the state, because that is our macro economy, ladies and gentlemen. And when we work together, we all do better. It's just good. So Pikes Peak Small Business Week 2025. The finalists have been announced, by the way, but that is May 5th through the 9th. And that is going to, May 5th through the 10th. And that is going to be a fabulous, fabulous week for you small business owners. So if you're an entrepreneur, startup, and you want to get involved and get in the conversation, learn how to pull the levers in this community, get some insights and advice from business counselors, this is a great place to do it. So you can go to Colorado Springs Chamber EDC.com/Pikes Peak Small Business. It's going to be a great week, and I hope you're involved. All right, let's get down to business and have some fun, because with me across the board is a gentleman. I've known your name for a long time, Russ. I think I've met you probably in passing a few times. But you have championed the Broadmoor Golf Club like none other. And it's just an honor to have you here. Russ Miller, Director of Golf at the Broadmoor. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Great to be with you.
Really glad to have you here. So, as I do with most of our guests, I love to orient everybody as to who's across the board for me for the 20 people who don't know you out there. So, give us a little background on you.
Yeah, I've privileged to have been director of golf now for 27 years at the Broadmoor.
Very nice.
I replaced the famous Dow Finsterwald, which you don't replace them. You just keep it going.
You just keep it going.
Grew up, born and raised in North Carolina, very close to Pinehurst, so been around golf all my life, and had no idea I'd still be here 27 years later, but just loving it. And we just keep on going, and as you've mentioned, there's a lot of sports activities in this great city, and we're going to do our part to keep that going.
Indeed, you are. And this is the third or fourth time we've hosted.
This will be the third Senior Open. It'll be the 9th USGA championship we've held since 1959.
Okay, that's a lot of work.
It's a lot. Yeah, this will be my fourth, and once again, privileged to be able to do it. We will continue to do these things in the future, and it's just the right thing to do.
Okay. Well, take us back to a young Russ Miller near Pinehurst. Were you sneaking on that golf course?
No. I grew up about 40 miles west of it. But having said that, to be able to go there and play in the old North-South Championship and those things was an honor. Pinehurst is one place you don't sneak on. It's just you wanted to, but you didn't. But it's funny. My dad played professional baseball. He belonged to the Dodger organization.
No kidding.
And golf was not a big thing for me till really about a senior in high school. And then I remember him always saying, "You can't play basketball, football, baseball, whatever, the rest of your life, but you can play golf." And then I ended up playing in college and fell in love with the game, and more so fell in love with the business. I wasn't good enough to go on tour, obviously, but I've just loved 43 years of being in the business now.
Mm-hmm. And what are some of the other spots that you've landed?
Well, I started off in Florida right out of college, then went to Fort Worth, Texas, and then back to North Carolina. Was there for about 13 years, and now here 27. It's like anything else. You kind of have to jump around and start at the bottom and work for the right people. That's the key to it. I worked for some great golf professionals and learned a lot from all of them. And thankfully, back in 1998, knew the CEO president of the Broadmoor, who used to be at the Greenbrier in West Virginia.
That's right.
And when Dow was retiring, he called me and said, "Do you have interest?" So got very lucky just knowing the right person.
But that's a great phone call to get.
It's a great call. Yeah.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Did you come from Greensboro to here?
No, I was at a Landfall Club in Wilmington, North Carolina, right on the coast. Great place. I was there for 9 years.
Yeah.
And thought I'd never leave North Carolina once I got back home. But you just have to do what you have to do. And our kids were 5 and 6, and we picked them up and moved them across the country.
Right on. How many you got?
Just 2 daughters.
Okay. And they're downstream a little bit now?
One, I became a granddad 5 weeks ago with my youngest, who's 34. She lives in Denver, and she's a nurse, and her husband's a nurse, and my other daughter's in Marco Island, Florida.
Marco?
Yeah.
All right. I lived in Naples for a minute, so okay. Welcome to the Granddad Club, by the way.
Thank you. It's awesome.
It is awesome,
ever.
isn't it?
The best ever.
I'm a year into it, and I got to tell you, it is pure gold.
It is. Nothing better. Nothing better.
Well, this tournament, this facility, I mean, what a partnership. The USGA and the Broadmoor. Fourth time we're hosting the U.S. Senior Open this year. Give us a high-level overview of the event and kind of your initial thoughts out of the gate.
Yeah. Dirk, I was asked yesterday, how do you even get the championship? How does that whole thing go about? Well, back in 2005, we wrote a letter to the USGA and said we would like to host another major because it had been 1995 since the previous major championship we'd held. And they actually come out and visit. They look at the city, the number of hotel rooms within 30 miles, airports, infrastructure, highways. So the most important component to getting a championship, you have to have a great golf course. That's number one. But equally as important, you have to have a community that supports it. Example being, let's say our mayor and our city council says, no, we don't want to deal with it. We don't want to deal with the traffic or the whatever. They're not going to come here.
It's a non-starter.
It's a non-starter. And the USGA gets involved in that minutia. Mayor Yemi and previous Mayor Southers and previous to them, so supportive and realize the economic impact and what it does for our city, both media-wise, economic-wise. To say now we've held the second most USGA championships of any club in the country. That's something to be proud of.
It's very.
In this, what we think is a small town, which is not small anymore, but to have 9 championships in Colorado Springs is very special.
It's extremely special, and you're scratching the surface of the economic development message I definitely want to do a deeper dive in, because it is a tremendous impact, not just the hotel rooms and the limousines and cabs and restaurants, but all those boats rise on that high tide.
Yeah.
But the CP value, you talked about the coverage of this tournament. Explain that a little bit.
Yeah, we will have 20 hours of live and tape TV coverage from NBC Sports or NBC Network and then Golf Channel. And once again, you being in the media, if you had to pay for flyovers of your entire city, live coverage of a major championship, you couldn't afford to do that.
That's right.
We don't even know what that's valued at.
Yeah.
So to have 20 hours, we know for a fact people watch it on TV and end up visiting our city, not just the Broadmoor, but the entire city. So that's another reason we do it. Mm-hmm. A true fact, we did some economic studies, and the last 2 championships we held, the week of the championship saw the most tax revenues for the city of any week of that entire year. It'll be about a $24.1 million economic impact. Creates 900 jobs. And I'll just throw out some statistics because these are pretty interesting.
Brother. You're talking our language here.
About 7,000 rental cars we'll see from our local airport and local facilities. 70% of the visitors come from outside of the Front Range. Mm-hmm. So these are people coming from all over the country.
They're flying in.
Not just from Denver. They're flying in. So if you're here, you have to stay at a hotel. 2, you have to eat 3 times a day, and you're probably going to buy retail. So once again, the economic impact is just tremendous. And I appreciate all the other sports activities in the city that we're able to do. And it's a great, as you've mentioned many times, with Sports Corp and our soccer team and all the things we have, we're just privileged and blessed to have that here.
We really are. Yep. So what does that week look like for you out of the gate?
It's pretty fun. You know, when you start planning and working on something 4 years in advance, we start our office 4 years in advance. Mm-hmm. When you kind of get to that practice round day, if it's not ready to go, it's not going to get ready to go. So you feel pretty good about it. However, we start a 4 a.m. Maintenance meeting every day. Then we go start setting up the golf course about 5 a.m. before play starts. Then we have a 3 p.m. maintenance meeting again to see how the course played. You know, is it windy? Is it shower? Do we have rain? Is it too hot? Is it too cold? Is it north wind, south wind? All those things. And those things, Dirk, are just so fun to me. I'm privileged to be able to help set up the golf course, the hole locations and the tee locations. And once again, it's a USGA event. They control it.
Yep.
However, I've been here so long, I can work with them closely, and there's nothing I'd rather do than set up a whole location for a major championship.
Well, that
sounds weird, but it's a big deal to me.
No, I get you, man. I totally get you. Those early morning hours when you know everybody's kind of gearing up and maybe even sleeping. So certainly the players should be, but you're out there picking their destiny, sort of.
You are, and there's so much science nowadays. Once again, we won't set up the golf course that day until we know what wind direction it's going to be.
Yeah.
Or once again, how firm the playing surface is or how humid or not humid it is. And it's a science, but yet there has to be some personal experience with it too. And thankfully I can bring that.
Well, you know that those courses very well. And of course the play against the mountain right there and everything's leaning to the east a little bit anyway. So that wind though, that's got to be a calculus equation of unbelievable proportion because those Chinooks come down.
They do.
And it's going to be a different day.
Thankfully, we're a little bit past that. You know, normally that's
Chinooks, yeah.
March, April, and early May. But you don't know.
Yeah.
And the USGA brings in a meteorologist to stay there for the whole week. That'd be a great job because most of the time you don't have to do anything. Do you look at your radar?
You don't have to be right,
That's right
to keep your job.
That's exactly right. But, you know, if we have a pending storm coming, we have to evacuate 30,000 spectators and all the players. So there's a important role of that. But
the logistical component.
The logistic and is it a short delay? Is it? Thankfully here it doesn't rain all day, especially in the summer. Right. We may have a thunderstorm, but you have to be prepared for anything.
Yes, you do. Well, we're going to get into some deeper details here with Russ. He is the director of golf over at the Broadmoor, And what an honor to see somebody who's done now your 4th championship, U.S. Senior Open here at the Broadmoor. If you're looking for tickets, ussenioropen.com. Get online and get those tickets, ladies and gentlemen, because we are going to show the rest of the world, not just the golf world, but the rest of the United States and the world, what a wonderful place Colorado Springs is. Back in a moment with Russ Miller. All right, we're back here, second half of Business Digest Weekly on a May day here in Southern Colorado, 3:30. I'm happy. Are you happy? I'm hanging out with Director of Golf at the Broadmoor, Russ Miller. So I'm really happy because golf is a part of my life. I'm not very good at it, but I'm not sure who can say is good at it, Russ.
A few guys can, but if we were that good, we wouldn't be sitting here today.
We would not be sitting here. God bless us. Well, we've got an extraordinary event coming here to Colorado Springs, as I'm sure you know, June 26th through the 29th here at the world-renowned Broadmoor Resort. And we're going to be playing some top-level golf with some of the game's most famous and prolific names, and, of course, some new folks coming out to join us this year. Russ, thanks for coming by. I know you're busy. And you're just, 5-6 weeks out now?
Yeah, I believe 62 days, 61 days, something like that.
It's starting to feel like it's happening.
It's coming. Yes, it's coming.
Okay. Well, how's the hotel feel? I mean, it's buzzing. Like you said, you're getting ready. It's coming. How are you feeling? How's the course look? All that good stuff.
Yeah, we thankfully came out of winter the best I've seen in a long time.
Okay.
Last year we didn't. And it's a combination of ice and temperatures and nothing anybody can control, but it looks fantastic for early May. So we're happy about that. And now we just maintain it up to the point of championship week. We have started putting up grandstands, which really adds some excitement when you see the structures going up and our hotel guests and members are playing and they say, wow, I'm playing where it's going to be on TV and soon.
Yeah.
That's fun.
No, you're going to shut it down the week before?
We have to shut it down 2 weeks before.
Got it.
Per our contract with USGA. We start hand watering everything versus the irrigation system. And it's pretty interesting because, you may have a hot spot over here. You may have a wet spot over here. We can totally control it. And having no activity on it for 2 weeks, it's just like carpet. It's just fabulous.
Yeah.
And, but we will start having some players come out. We have some in the next couple of weeks coming out beforehand to do practice rounds. And that's fun also.
Now, what are they allowed to do according to the rules?
Yeah, they can. So when we closed June 9th to all play, someone who is eligible or exempt into the championship can come play whenever they want to. Mm-hmm. Just themselves. They can't bring their friends and family and caddies or whatever. They just themselves can play. And or the caddies can come out and walk the golf course and start measuring the greens and doing their data they need to get. So we will see a lot. And the word's out there, like you said, we've had several senior opens. The word is out there how tough our greens are. So we have 3 people coming in next week who've not played in it before because they've recently turned 50. And they're flying in and doing their deal, and they've heard the reputation.
Okay. Fast greens? What is the reputation?
Fast and very difficult to read because of the mountain effect.
Mountain.
It's all gravity. It looks like it's going to do one thing, and it does the total opposite. Very quick story. A couple of years ago, Mr. Jack Nicklaus was here, and we're doing some media things, and we're standing on 4 green, the par 3, which is probably the most difficult green we have. And he goes, Russ, just wanted you to know Augusta National has the second set of toughest greens in the world. And that's all he said. And I said, well, I got to noodle this thing. I said, are you saying these are the toughest greens in the world? He goes, without a doubt.
No kidding.
And I took that as a compliment.
Yes.
And they were built in 1916, so how they've stood up to time. And, he won his first major there, the U.S. Amateur, and he goes, yeah, these are Augusta National has the second toughest set of greens in the world. These are the first toughest. Yeah. So pretty neat.
Yeah, you've met some interesting people.
I have. I've been fortunate, yes.
And what do you find about professional golfers?
One, they just want to be treated like normal people. And it's a hard deal. Hale Irwin is a very, very good personal friend of mine, and we'll go to dinner together, and he'll always want to be in the corner just because he wants to have a meal without signing autographs. No, he doesn't say no. He's very, very generous. But they can't do anything. They can't go anywhere.
Sure.
And just to be able to go out and laugh and have fun and not talk about golf. He and I have had more, just the two of us, fun dinners together. Very quick story. This was Senior Open. I think it was back in Boston. And this was 10, 12 years ago. He was playing very, very well. We go out Wednesday night before the first round and have dinner, just the two of us. And he goes, I'm not drinking, not one beer, not one glass of wine. I'm going to eat fish and be healthy. I said, okay, well, I'm going to have a glass of wine. Do what you want. He shot 74.
Oh.
So pretty upset. He's got a temper.
Yeah.
The next night, we go out again, the two of us. I said,
beers.
okay, dude, more than that. I said, you shot 74 yesterday, and you were so clean. I said, let's have a couple of drinks. He goes, yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
Shoot 66 the next day.
Attaboy.
I said, I told you. That just proved it. You got to just relax. And here's a guy who'd won 60 or 70 championships. I mean, so anyway, they just want to be normal. They, I think they give back a lot more than people realize.
Yeah, they do.
Charity or autographs or, I had a friend of a friend who the husband was dying from cancer and just loved Hale Irwin and said, is there any way you can get a signed photograph from Hale and write my name, Dear Tom? No. And Hale, absolutely. Didn't even hesitate. Well, that's the kind of people they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, good people.
Just down to earth. Reminds me of the NASCAR guys of old. They were very approachable, the Earnhardt days, Dale. And, those guys were pretty much on the ground. I mean, they were in their own little world. They knew they were celebrities, but they also, they came from, a lot of them from humble upbringings. Yeah. And they just wanted to go out there and have some fun. So,
the thing about a golfer, they're not like a NBA player who signs a $40 million contract.
That's right.
They start with zero and they earn every dime they get.
Great point, Russ.
Yeah, and I think the champions, the Senior Open, these guys, this is a second life. It's 50 and over. And they're just thankful for the opportunity. They've made money, obviously, to get to that point, but they still have to earn it, and they're still competitive, and it's fun. Hell, when he gets to the first tee, it's a different switch, and you don't talk, you just let him go.
He's gone.
When he finishes, if he shoots 66 or 76, when he signs that card, he's done, he's back to hell again. Russ, you want to go out and have a beer? Or no, go fishing or whatever you want to do.
I love it, man.
It's fun.
That is cool.
So fun.
Take us inside the tournament a little bit and some of the things we as fans and folks that are going to be watching might not recognize unless they heard it from you.
Yeah. I think one of our biggest responsibilities is to make the experience as good as it can be for the patron who attends. We don't want parking to be difficult, so we're parking everyone at World Arena and then going to shuttle bus them over. That's pretty easy, and it's a 10-minute shuttle. We drop everybody off at the gate, and now this just started this year. All tickets are now digital, pretty much.
Good.
So you can bring your phone, and it's digital. It's like get on the airplane. I always printed out tickets and so forth. They come in the main gate, the big merchandise pavilion's there. There's concession stands. They can get a hamburger, a Coke, a beer, whatever they want. And then we do grandstand seats throughout the golf course, restrooms, concession stands. We just want them to be comfortable.
Yep.
And for disabled people who can't walk, we have scooters that they can use for the day. And the kids sit on the front row of the grandstands.
That's cool.
That's a neat thing, and those kids eat that up.
I bet.
They love that. A lot of the grandstands are only 20 feet from the green surface itself, so I can read your logo if you're putting out a lot of time from that grandstand, and that the kids love it.
I bet. Wow.
So I think it's all experience. We love people to come more than just one day. Let them come 2, 3, 4, maybe every day. A really neat thing that we do with the USGA is kids 17 and under can come complimentary with a paid adult.
Beauty.
And you as a dad could bring 7 kids, up to 7 kids.
No kidding.
And that's pretty special because most of these, not most, but a lot of these children have never played golf before. They've never been to a golf tournament. And just look at their faces. And we do, on number 1 West, we do specialized kids tents, and they can chip and putt and get lessons and experience and all that. And it's a wonderful thing. And that's growing the game for the future.
Yeah.
That's what it's doing.
And you can't do this without volunteers.
You cannot.
And you've got an army.
We have 1,700 and a big waiting list. 44 states from the country are represented, and we don't call out to Hawaii and say we need a volunteer. And actually in 18, all 50 states were represented.
No kidding.
And they pay to volunteer, so we're not paying them. They pay to get a uniform and get a ticket for the week, and we do feed them for the week when they're working and do some neat things for them because they do some great things for us. But you can't run a championship without volunteers.
Okay. And I imagine a park ranger or two is going to be close by this year?
We're talking a lot.
Of course, if you watch the 18 match, you remember the bear. Did he get a name?
Well, there was more than one.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to share another very quick story.
Please do.
So Sunday night, before the first practice round day on Monday, we had a concession stand up on the range, and it's a vinyl tent with zippers and everything else. Well, we thought it'd be smart to get out there about 3 a.m. in the morning and go ahead and start loading hot dogs. So we loaded 500 hot dog buns, 500 hot dogs, and then went off and did something else. 500.
Copy.
Within an hour or two, we came back, and the tent was shredded. And the only thing was left was some clear plastic paper from the hot dog buns. Everything was eaten.
He took it out.
And we think it was only one. And I hope he felt bad after eating that.
Well, I would hope so.
But we had, you remember Dottie back in 2008,
That's right. Yeah.
This bear suddenly runs across the fairway. And Dottie's a great personal friend. And I happened to be in the NBC truck helping with the commentator. And we were on commercial break when this bear runs across. So we're not live TV at the time. And the producer goes, Russ, I want you to mess with Dottie. So I'm talking into a microphone, and she's got her headphone on. I said, Dottie, don't move. That is one of those man-eating bears, and they love women. And she starts squealing, like a little 2-year-old. And
there's a mean streak in you now.
Oh, my God. And once again, she's a good friend, so I could do it. And I said, Dottie, don't move. So the bear runs across, and he starts coming back, and she starts screaming more. And I said, the more you scream, the more he's going to want to eat you.
Oh, my gosh. She had to be going nuts.
She's going crazy. Then the producer goes, 30, 29. We're getting ready to go back on air. And he says, give it a few more seconds. He goes, okay. I said, Dottie, just kidding. Those bears wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole. And right. You got to have a little fun.
Well, amen, brother. That had to be the levity of the week. So.
And made the top 10 ESPN.
That's right.
Segments for the year, not for the week, for the year.
I know. Director of Golf, Russ Miller, sitting across the board from me. We're going to get an under-the-hood look at some of the behind-the-scenes things that are happening over there at the Broadmoor during this year's U.S. Senior Open. June 26th through the 29th. You can get your tickets online, ussenioropen.com. Back in a moment.
My experience with Colorado Springs Orthopedic Group has been top-notch. The whole orthopedic group, they've worked very well together. Even when I've gone through PT or needed to get my collar prosthetic, everybody's been just right on top of it. It's all centralized and the communications have been awesome. Even though I had my nervousness about going into surgery, I was still very confident. I knew I was going to be okay. Colorado Springs Orthopedic Group is definitely getting me back to my life and the things that I want to do.
All right, we're back here fourth quarter with Russ Miller, Director of Golf at the Broadmoor. What an honor to sit across the board from you, sir. You're one of the nicest guys in golf I've met.
Thank you. You're very kind.
I really appreciate it. And of course, the Broadmoor, ladies and gentlemen, is just one of the world's most beautiful places to be. And it is, of course, a 5-star, 5-diamond resort. It has maintained that reputation for the length of its term in operations. Jack DeMoli runs the show over there, along with a number of brilliant operators in their respective departments. And we want to thank the Broadmoor staff. We want to thank all the folks that aren't seen, and of course, those that are seen, those volunteers, and everybody in the city of Colorado Springs is going to make this an absolutely fantastic event. We appreciate you. We see you, and we know how hard it is to put on a show like this for the rest of the world to see inside our world. So we're very grateful for you all over there. Keep your bubble level. It's going to be a passionate week for sure, and a very busy week. But if I know anything about the Broadmoor, they will take care of you as well. So good to have you with us. I hope you're enjoying this conversation with one of the premier golf directors in the state of Colorado and even the United States, as he has in his purview, in his stewardship, one of the great golf courses in the region. This is our 4th time hosting the U.S. Senior Open here in Colorado Springs. A privilege, to be sure. June 26th through the 29th. And I got a phone number for you. I want you to jot down 719-208-4107. You're going to get a nice lady on the phone. She's going to direct you to a few different options about the U.S. Senior Open and, of course, how you can get those tickets, which is ussenioropen.com, and that's USSenioropen.com. So take a look at those. You can get out there all day. We'd love to have you more than one day out there. Take some time off. Bring your younger kids so they can see this extraordinary event. This is a pageant, folks. It's pageantry. This is history being made. And what an honor to host it. Russ, glad you're with us, brother.
Thank you. Great to be with you.
Appreciate you. Fellow North Carolina friend. So
yes.
Did a little time in Greensboro.
Yes. Yes.
The borough.
Long time ago.
Oh, good Lord. Well, welcome, and thank you for giving us a look. Now, I'd love to share, if this is having a drink with Russ after the tournament's over and some of the things that happen behind the scenes and things that just people don't see and what's going on over there.
Yeah, I think, Dirk, you try to prepare for every single thing that can happen, but who would know a bear's going to eat 500 hot dogs? Who would know a bear's going to run across 13 fairway in the last round?
That's funny.
Really quick story, and this is a funny one. And like I mentioned before, Hale Irwin's a very good personal friend. He's out playing a practice round before the 18 championship, and for people that have been out there, the Will Rogers Shrine sits on the mountain, which is directly in line behind number 1 fairway and green, and it dings every quarter hour and then plays a song every hour. Well, I've been there so long, and the wind has to be perfect to even hear it, and most of the time I don't even hear it. Well, Hale and I are standing on the first tee, and it dings. And the wind was slightly out of the west, so he heard it. I didn't hear it. He heard it. He goes, "Russ, what is that?" And I explained it. He goes, "Are you going to turn it off?" I said, hadn't even thought about it. And we're probably 6 weeks out from the championship. I said, I don't know. Let me research. So I go to the El Pomar Foundation, who knew the answers. That thing had never been touched in 80-some years as far as volume or whatever.
No kidding.
And they can digitally change the songs, but nothing had. Well, I talked to someone. I said, do we have the opportunity just to cut it down 50% in case the wind comes out of the west at 10 miles an hour? And they go, yeah, we can do that. I said, but could you just do that for me? I said, yeah. So sure enough, our first round, Hale's on the first tee.
No, of course.
And it dings, like I said, 9 o'clock, 9:15, 9:30, 9:45. The starter, who's an official USGA guy, we said, do not start exactly at 9, saying next on the tee is Hale Irwin. Start at 9 o'clock and 30 seconds. Let that thing do its ding. And he had his notes. Well, this person forgot, apparently. Mm-hmm. So Hale starts his club back, gets to the top of his swing, and it ding.
No.
And he tries to stop his swing, and he can't stop. And he kind of tops the ball, and it goes 15 yards left in this grass that high by this Rolex clock.
Not good.
Not good. And I happen to be standing there, which
At the clock?
right there by Hale.
Oh, geez.
Right there. He turns around and gives me, and we're, like I said, very, very good friends. He gives me the meanest look you give a human.
Yeah.
Well, we call in the rules officials because the rules of golf, if you don't intend to hit the ball, it's not counted as a stroke, which means he could have re-teed it with no penalty.
Right.
The fact he had started his downswing, they determined he intended to hit the ball, and it's a stroke. So now he's literally 15 yards from where he teed off, has to drop it in his high grass, hits a 3-iron down the fairway, hits a 3-iron on the green, and I stay on the tee because I don't want to be around him.
No, you're done for the day.
Has like a 30-footer for par and makes it.
Yeah.
And it was a huge roar. I said, son of a gun, he's made par. That's incredible. He's not going to be mad anymore. Then he birdies 2, birdies 3, and then 4T comes right back up to the first tee.
Oh, no.
And I'm watching the digital boards and stuff, and I walk over to him. I said, Hale, great job. Great par on 1. You birdied 2 and 3. Way to go. He goes, Russ, if you had done what I asked, I would have been 3 under par, not 2 under par, because I probably would have birdied one also. And Dirk, we sit there and we started laughing, and some of the gallery heard it, and we just started cracking up laughing. Here he is on the 4th hole in the major champion,
Yeah.
And I said, hell, you're right. I will never forget this the rest of my life. So you will not hear that shrine this year at all, I don't think.
They turn it off?
You can turn it way down.
Way down.
I just don't want to turn it off because it's never been turned off in history.
Yeah, it's a lot of 80s.
Shame on me to do that.
Right.
We won't let anybody hear it.
Right on. When the folks are out there, not the logistical components, because you guys got that under wraps. USGA's got it under wraps, and of course your volunteers. But what some of the folks that are in tune with golf, what would you recommend they kind of keep their eyes on?
Yeah. And I'll relate that. The first time I had a chance to go to Augusta National for the Masters, and this was 40 years ago probably. I was so excited to see it, not on TV, but to see it live. What I did, I walked all 18 holes first, just to see how beautiful it was and to see the holes you see on television. And then my wife and I, we picked out a place on 16 green, the par 3, and just sat there for 6 or 7 hours and watched every group come through. So if people are in shape enough, healthy enough to do it, I would walk the entire golf course and just see everything because it's beautiful. And then I would find a spot on a par 3 in a grandstand or on number 18 behind the green, which is awesome, or on the first tee, and just plant yourself there.
Yeah.
And there's concession stands everywhere. There's restrooms everywhere. It's convenient. So just watch these people come through. Yeah. And it's fun being around a lot of people. The grandstand on 18 will be about 2,500 seats, and it's huge.
Yep.
So to hear that applause and,
it's big.
or you missed it, or, whatever. And that's what I would do. Yeah.
And what are some of the moments that you look forward to?
I get asked that a lot. I remember in 2008, Eduardo Romero had a 3-shot lead going into the 18th hole, and he was playing with Fred Funk, who's also a very good friend, great guy. So both tee off, hit it in the fairway, both hit their second shots on the green. So there's really no way Eduardo can lose the tournament. There's no way. So we let all the gallery ropes down on 18, and you have these 15,000 people at least, maybe more, running down the fairway following Eduardo and Fred. And we have the pond there, so they kind of got stuck at the pond. But
sure,
this is on video, and just to see all those people. When I was up on 18 green, getting ready for the ceremony and going, now that's cool. That's why you spend 4 years doing what you do, because look how much fun they're having.
Yeah.
It's loud and people are applauding, and just that's why you do it. I can't tell you it's not a financial reason.
Sure.
Sure, the economic impact for the city and all that's important, but you just the right thing to do.
Of course.
It's fun.
Yep. What's the hotel like that week?
Oh, it's we'll have people say, hey, I ate at the tavern, had a steak, and Hill Irwin was sitting at the table next to me, or whoever,
right on.
Fred Couples, or
sure,
I got to see Freddie, and it's buzzing, and it's it's always busy in the summer anyway, but it all revolves around this championship, and all the players, except for very few, stay at the hotel, so they're eating in our restaurants and they're hanging out and they're just being normal people, and people like to be around special people,
of course. That's pretty special to see. Yeah, I mean, you're walking down the hall. Hey, Jack, how you doing?
That's right.
Marnie, or not Marnie's gone, but Gary, nice to see you, and so on. So you've got a lot of friends coming in, it sounds like.
I do. I'm the age of most of them, so I've known them for all my career and all the golf life, and they love staying at a resort where the first tee is 3 minutes from their hotel room. For example, last year, we were up in where we were in the Northeast, and it was probably a 20-minute shuttle drive from the host hotel to the golf course. Well, that's fine, but that's just not real convenient. And they had to build a lot of tents and so forth at the golf course because they didn't even have a restaurant, believe it or not. It was built in the 1800s and didn't even have a restaurant, had a small locker room. Everything had to be constructed. Well, thankfully, with the Broadmoor and 784 rooms and all the restaurants and all the things, they just use what's there. And they get so much enjoyment out of that.
Nice.
The last couple of years I go to the Senior Open, they go, Russ, we're so excited to come back.
Nice.
And that's neat.
That's good to hear.
To fly into our airport, which is awesome.
Yeah.
13 nonstop flights now. And we give them a Lexus to have for the week, and they drive it over. And it's not very hard. I mean, it's a pretty good experience for them.
Very good experience.
Yeah, seamless, I'd say it is.
Well, that is the hallmark of the Broadmoor experience. Seamless, and it's always fun. And I'll tell you what, it's a privilege to be a part of that. So I'm going to give you a full 90 seconds here to invite the audience to your tournament coming up here in June.
Thank you. If you're an avid golf fan, and if you've been there before, you know the feeling, the aura of the championship week, please come back. If you've not done it before, just give it a shot and experience it, and you won't be sorry you did it. And we talked before, kids 17 and under can come complimentary. What a great way to grab your 2 kids and your neighbor's 2 kids and 3 more and just bring them over and let them see the best players in the world and experience a major sporting event, not just a golf event, but a major sporting event. And then to see it on TV maybe the next day and say, I was there.
I was there.
I was on that hole, and I saw Freddie make that birdie, and it's an experience. And the whole concept, our obligation as directing this thing is the experience to the patron, to the media, to the players, to our hospitality partners. Like we said, seamless, but just a great experience. And we know the weather's going to be good. We know it's going to be beautiful and all that. So that's our obligation.
Russ Miller, Director of Golf at the Broadmoor, has been with us. It's been a privilege, sir. Thank you for talking to us, because I know you're busy, and you're probably headed right back to work here. 719-208-4107 is the phone number to get your tickets and get information about the tournament. And, of course, USSeniorOpen.com. Ladies and gentlemen, what a privilege to host for the fourth time, the U.S. Senior Open here in Colorado Springs at the world-renowned Broadmoor. It's been a privilege, Russ. Thank you for coming, sir.
Likewise. Thank you.
Good tournament to you, sir.
Thank you.
Cheers. All right, folks, we'll see you next week. Take care.
You've been tuned in to Business Digest Weekly with Dirk Hobbs. If you'd like to be considered for a spot on our show, email us at info@coloradomediagroup.com.